Hello, I am live. Actually, the background's gonna bother me just slightly. This space here is just not very good looking. And I do like that for now. Okay, that looks better. Hello. I'm so excited for today's podcast and live. Today we're going to be talking about toxic coworkers and what to do if you are battling them. Now, I say this because if you're a teacher or are interested in becoming a teacher or not at all, you more than likely are going to be faced with the challenge of less than high vibrational coworkers. So that was the inspiration behind this podcast episode. So I am going to be getting ready at the same time and talking to you about toxic coworkers and what that even means. So in this podcast, we're going to be talking about what the word toxic even means. And it's my goal to give you a really good definition of what toxic means and how you won't be affected by it anymore. And also, I'm going to share about my own personal story with toxic coworkers, just as learning lessons for you, and how I was able to transmute it and how I was able to not take it personal after a while. Like, trust me, it takes practice. And then lastly, I'm going to give you tips on how you can transmute the toxic coworkers in your life. And I do want to say, if you have any questions or like you want to throw out situations in the chat, like please do, because I want to help you in any way, shape, or form that I can. I have my mirror right here. That's what I'm going to be looking into. If you are tuning in live, hello. So I put out a poll earlier this week on YouTube community about what time would work best for the live. More people voted for 7 p.m. PST. However, I realized that, okay, that's not going to work because my editor takes this footage and she uploads it to my podcast for me. And that's just way too late for her to do that for tomorrow. So we'll work it out as time goes on, but do plan on having and spending more time with me live. I like to go 2 times a month in between scheduled YouTube videos, actually. It's what I really enjoy doing. So I also have this drink with me, so you might hear me drinking it, but I am so excited to dive in. All right, so I just put on some vitamin C serum and some sunscreen. And last night, me and my family, my husband's family, actually, they were out here in Vegas for the horse races. And we had like a booth at the Wynn, and we had food and drink, and it was so much fun last night. But I feel very well rested. I think it's because it was daylight savings time. So I think we all got an extra hour of sleep. Okay. Also, I do want to share that, yes, it is currently November, right? Is it November 6th? Jeez. So it is November 6th, and I am having a 28-day gratitude challenge. We did start on November 3rd, or no, we did start on November 2nd. But however, how it's structured is you can join at any time. You just need to follow the gratitude practices every day for 28 days. And as a result, your life will be completely elevated, like without question, without a single doubt in my mind. It is something that I've been doing for the past like 2 to 3 years that has completely transmuted everything for me. I did this when I was trying to find a teaching job, where to go. I've done this after I got into like I got into a car accident in 2020. So almost 2 years ago, out of complete random, that really shook me up or like woke me up really. I did the magical practice after this too. Like there's something about gratitude that will just completely shift you out of any kind of bad mood or like bad things happening to you. It is very powerful. So let me get you the link. I'll put it in the chat. If you want to join, you can join at any time. Currently, the people who joined on the actual day, November 6th, we are on day 5 right now. Yesterday, we just talked about our magical health. Like I teach you in there how to use gratitude as like your secret weapon to like transmute anything in your life. And I'm going to be talking a lot about it in here too, because you are a very powerful being. Like you're very powerful and you have the capability to transmute like these negative situations from your coworkers or like your place of work. You can completely transmute that into like fuel for yourself. So let me get that link. It's right here. Perfect. And you can join again at any time. It's going to be going on until November 30th, but I just had someone join the other day and they're starting on day 1 today. So whenever you join. All right, 6 minutes in, let's get to the juice and the meat and the deliciousness of the episode. So I did want to start the episode off with talking about what toxic even means, and something that I see happening sometimes with certain, I don't know, like strands of like I hear people say toxic like it's a bad thing. And I'm really here to share with you and to teach you and for you to know that like toxic is not bad. Like toxic's not bad or good. It just is. And I think the further we can get away from thinking like things are good and things are bad, the farther away we will be from this trap of duality and separation, because we are all one. And the sooner that like I understood that, the sooner that you understand that, like you are able to completely transmute what these negative situations. So what it means to transmute, what that means is just like not letting it affect you in a negative way. So if let's pretend you are facing like something negative in your workspace, as in a coworker that is just like not very uplifting, or I had someone message me on Instagram and say like, oh, this coworker literally just puts me down all the time, like all my ideas, she puts me down, blah blah blah. And I would welcome you, if that is you, I would welcome you to ask yourself, where am I allowing this person to affect me so deeply? Like, other people should not have the power to affect your energy field. And if that is happening, we need to build your self-worth up so you are no longer affected by these people that are doing this to you, because they're doing this for you. It's never like to you, right? Everything in life happens for you, to grow you, to expand you, to evolve you higher. So the first time I dealt with toxic coworkers and really like was my first year of teaching. So my first year of teaching, I got this job at my old elementary school that I grew up in. And at first, like my team was really nice and stuff. Everything was great. But then as the year went on and I started my YouTube channel, and I was keeping my YouTube channel really to myself. Like it wasn't something that I was sharing off with anyone. It was really just for me to experience and to see if I wanted to do this full time, or like, how am I going to do this full time? What am I going to do? And I had a coworker basically like, I guess I could say rat me out, but it really wasn't ratting me out. It was more like I had a coworker just like tell my principal, my boss behind my back, that I had a YouTube channel and I was speaking negatively about like people and situations. And I mean, if you go back to my first year teaching videos, I mean, I was honestly just being open and real about what I was experiencing as a teacher, because it was nothing that I had intended. Like teaching was nothing that I thought it would be. And when I say that, I mean like I kind of fantasized what I thought teaching would be. And then I became a teacher of my own classroom, and it was nothing that I ever thought. It was so much harder, so much stress, so much more stress. Like my energy was so thin. I burnt out I think I burnt out that first week. I burnt myself out that first day of teaching on back to school night, burnt out. And as I was living my life teaching, I was recording every single week and I was sharing with the internet and whoever wanted to tune in my experience with teaching. And I had a coworker who was actually on my team, like my grade level, like okay, again, I'm going to say rat me out, but he showed my channel to my boss. And then my boss, like, let me see. So after how it worked where I was working at the time was you signed a temporary contract with this district. And that meant like you were only there for a year. So they could like dismiss you, bring you back if they wanted, blah, blah, blah. And it was around February and I wasn't getting called in and was being told that I was being brought back for the next school year. So I'm like, all right, I don't think I'm going to be brought back. Like I just had this pit knowing that it's because of my YouTube channel, because the school district didn't like you to have social media. Like they didn't want you to post anywhere or say anything, blah, blah, blah. And this was actually, so I'll talk about the lessons I've learned as well, like going through this experience of, knowing someone on my team is basically like ratting me out, like talking behind my back to my boss. Okay. It became really clear to me what was going on when it was like March and we had a staff meeting. And in the staff meeting, my admin, like my principal, said, you need to be really aware of what you're posting online because if it's taken wrong by parents, then like you're wrong, basically. And that's when I really started questioning a lot. I was questioning, like, well, what is so wrong? Or like, I knew what I was posting online. I mean, you can even look back on my old videos. I knew what I was posting for my weekly vlog was not bad. Like, I wasn't saying names. I wasn't bringing up my district in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'm smart. I know not to show students' faces or where I work exactly or blah, blah, blah. Like, I know that. But my coworker told my boss, and then my boss basically for my final evaluation, I already knew the day before I wasn't being brought back. And it like hit me because nobody told me anything. Like no one talked to me about my YouTube channel. It just was so like hidden and hush hush that when I was called in for my final eval, um, he's just like, my boss was like, yeah, we're not bringing you back, or they're not bringing you back. He's like, I don't, whatever. Honestly, I don't really remember the details, like the exact conversation, because I just choose to forget that because it was pretty shitty. But he just said, like, why are you even posting on, so why are you posting on YouTube? That's what my boss said. And then I was like, because it's for me. Like, I'm seeing if I like it. I'm seeing if I want to do this like full time or like continue with it because I like sharing. And I said, like, when I was going through my teaching credential, I thought teaching was something else, but it's very, very different than what I thought. And I just feel like I like to share my personal experience because I felt so lost my first year of teaching, where all I saw on the internet at the time was like happy go lucky, like teachers just loving their lives teaching. And I'm like, why is this so difficult for me? Why is everyone like so confident in what they're doing when I have no idea what the hell I'm doing? Like I had no idea how to teach. I had no idea how to even teach a lesson. Like I had no idea. And I wasn't getting any support, any value or any support I had was just absolutely not there. I had a one-on-one like mentor, but she didn't even help me out because she knew I wasn't getting brought back to the district because of my YouTube channel, and she didn't even tell me about it. So I don't know what kind of mentor that is. But anyway, so after I found out I wasn't getting brought back, and then this is like the haha part, I guess, to me, because I can laugh at it now, is like my boss at the time, he's like, oh, like you're posting like negative things online. And I was like, I was like, what are you talking about? So essentially my coworkers told my admin, my boss, that I was posting negative things online my first year teaching. And I wasn't posting negative things. I was just sharing my experience, which just so happened to look more negative than positive. But instead of like asking, hey, how can I support you? Or like, what do you need? Or blah, blah, blah. They just, like pushed me away or like sent me on my merry way, which they can, right? They're a business. They can do that. Not all school districts are for the higher good of all kids and stuff. Like it was a really shocking awakening to know that I was teaching for a district that just didn't care about me. And in terms, like they didn't care about the students, because I loved the students with my whole heart. The students are the best part of the job, like hands down. So then my boss was like, "Oh yeah, you were posting negative things online," and then I said, "When and where, and have you seen anything that I've posted online?" And he straight up told me no, and I was like, "How are you just gonna go off hearsay then?" Like, oh my gosh, it was not good. So then after I found out I wasn't getting hired back, I signed up for like these trainings uh, beforehand that I attended. And it was so interesting after knowing I wasn't coming back. And I was like the only person at the school who wasn't coming back. Um, Freaking people started acting very weird to me. Like they weren't saying hi to me, they weren't talking to me. Like I was for real being ostracized. It was a very interesting experience. This happened 5 years ago. So I was being ostracized by a lot of people at the school. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, I don't get it. I don't feel like I'm posting anything negative online, and I wasn't. And it was very interesting. So honestly, like sometimes I have no words because that was such a hard time dealing with that, like toxicity of people just talking behind your back and not being transparent with you. And that was the one thing, like working in that type of district, in that environment, I was never talked to like a professional, or like never talked to with any sense of care of like, hey, you're doing a YouTube channel. Well, can we like see, this is the interesting thing, because I'm like, who cares if I have a YouTube channel? Like that's on my off time. Why does the district care? Or like you know what I mean? It was very interesting. But again, for people who are live, hi. If you have any questions or like need any type of help with any type of like toxic coworkers or toxic situations in your workplace, leave them in the chat because I would love, love, love to help you. And you know what? This is what I'm going to talk about, like with the lessons that you will learn through these experiences. And I'm going to be pretty like deep because that's just how I roll. I roll very deep. So the reason why you are facing these challenges with these toxic work coworkers or this toxic work environment right now is because this is your opportunity to rise up. This is your opportunity to fall into your self-worth. Okay? Everything in your life is happening for you. So when this was happening to me, being completely ostracized my first year teaching, like literally, here's another thing. My boss, like he had to share like positive things about us or like about me in one of my observations. And this was like in October, 5 years ago. And it was like a one-on-one meeting, and he had to share like all the good things about me. And the only good thing he could think of to share about me was that I make good anchor charts. I was like, what? Like, what about my relationship with the kids? Or what about the energy I bring into my classroom? Or like, what about that I am dedicated and I love my job. And like this year of teaching, my first year, I actually spent so much of my energy and time like setting up my classroom for it just to be taken down and like not even be like impressed by, or you know what I mean? It was very interesting. So the reason why you are battling um, this like turmoil in your life right now with these toxic coworkers, it's because it's forcing you to be in your power, because you have two choices. You can either run away scared, right? And be affected by it, or you can choose to rise up to the occasion and know that just because these people or even your boss or your job, whatever, like even if they are being quote unquote toxic, um, they are teaching you something. They are teaching you to set boundaries. And going on boundaries, I have heard and seen, and this was me too. Like, I only teach on things that I have gone through myself. I teach on things and give advice to things that I have learned through and embodied myself. And one of the things I've learned is, you know what, like boundaries and people pleasing is one of the what do I want to say? Easiest or one of the most common energy leaks with people is people pleasing and feeling guilty and feeling bad and blah, blah, blah. No, energy leak. You got to plug that up. So, for example, my first year, I mean, with these people, I just wanted to appease them, right? I shifted myself, I changed myself. Like, I was not true to myself to try to fit in to this teeny tiny district with in this teeny tiny town that I grew up in. And I know that experience was there for me to find my power again because I lost it. I lost my power. I think I lost my power my first day of teaching. You'll probably hear me say this a lot, but we had back to school night the day before the first day of school. And I remember that night being like the kids were coming in with their parents on back to school night. And the second I heard them outside my door, I felt a piece of my soul like vanish, or like I fell into like this depression. It was so interesting. I remember the exact moment. I remember the exact feeling of this happening. And it was just, it was just, I remember going home that night. I had no words. It was like literally, I know this is going to sound, it might sound weird. And no, I'm not a mom yet, but I have my whole undergrad in child development. And I love that degree. Like, I love doing that stuff and learning more about it. But the best way I can explain it, my first day of teaching or the night before with back to school night, was I anticipated teaching to be so different. And then once I was in it and I really saw, oh my God, what the hell did I get myself into? It was like I fell into like a postpartum depression, is the best way I could explain it. I kind of just compared it to like motherhood. I mean, that's just the best way I can explain it now, but I'm not a mom yet. So that's just how I felt, kind of like a letdown. But it grew me and expanded me in ways that I would not be here without. Absolutely not. Or continuing on to help other women with their businesses themselves. So it is always happening for you. So I have a question in the chat. Thank you. I love, love, love your guys' questions. So it says, hey, it's happening to me these days because I don't gossip at work and flirt with male staff, so everyone is ignoring me. I go out for lunch, I feel guilty and unwanted, but who cares? Yes. So So let's talk about what gossip is for a second. Because that, you know what gossip is? Gossip is the easiest way for you to have an energy leak. Like, have you ever noticed the people that gossip? Are they happy with themselves? Are they happy with their lives? Like, are they happy people? No. No, no, no. People who gossip are not. That is not having integrity with themselves. So I freaking hate gossiping. I hate it. There's a difference between gossiping and there's a difference between like, I don't know if I want to say venting or just, I would say venting. There's a difference. Gossiping is like attaching assumption onto other people's situations and lives when we have no freaking idea. Whereas venting is more like, this is what happened and this is how it made me feel. That's venting. But gossiping is like, oh, did you hear this and this? And I think this. Yeah, that's very, very low dimensional. So I'll give a little spiel on high vibrational and low vibrational. So everything in this universe runs on dualism, okay? Dualistic. There's hot, cold, negative, positive, good, bad, da da da. That is just how we govern our world. That's actually how we create our consciousness and we manifest and all that. But the thing is, if we're doing like certain habits or if we are hanging around people that aren't bringing as much love and light into their own lives because of their actions, then we are going to be like secondhand off of that. And I think it's a great idea to just have lunch on your own. I always loved having lunch on my own. I mean, even today. So I will say, present day, this year teaching is the best year of teaching I've ever had. It is, I have really great supportive coworkers, and actually believe it or not. I had a coworker tell me Wednesday, like, this most beautiful message for me that I was just like, wow, like, that was absolutely beautiful. Like, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Like, I believe and I think for a lot of us, and especially me, we sometimes go through these like hard situations with these hard, difficult people to show us what we really want. Because if you think about it, we are co-creating, okay? So we have to be really clear on who we want to surround ourselves with. And the best way that we can do that is through experiencing and learning. So if you are going through the situation of working with less than ideal people, you have some lessons to learn and you have some teachings to do. Like, again, I said this at some other point, but I love how school is, there, but really earth is our school. Life is a school. We are constantly learning. And these situations that you're in with these less than ideal people are just showing you how to rise in your power, right? To be very grounded in your own inner strength. Like, you cannot embrace this inner strength and this soul worth or like your self-worth without battling and going through like these negative situations. You know what I mean? It's literally like building a muscle. And then feeling guilty for having lunch on your own. I would say, like, ask yourself, why are you feeling guilty for taking care of yourself? Why is that a guilt? If you are taking care of yourself, how come you feel guilty doing that? And then that's where a lot of deconditioning takes place of, okay, where did I learn that it's guilty for me to take care of myself? Or where did I learn that it's guilty for me not to go with the pack, right? Because you're going against the grain of your normal coworkers or whatever. That's when you ask yourself those hard questions like, why? And then And then the truth is revealed to you as of why. Because the thing is with guilt, that is a low vibrational emotion. It's very similar emotional vibration to like gossip and toxicity and negativeness. It's just a way for us to describe emotions that are lower frequency. So what I mean by that is like as humans, we are energetic beings. We are held together, right, by atoms vibrating at a certain frequency. That's just science. And what happens is, as humans, you are able to measure your emotional state based upon frequency. So, what that means is if I am in a state of peace and gratitude and love, those are the highest vibrational states that we as people can be in. And then lower vibrational states are like uh, guilt, shame, grief, hate, anger. Those are toxicity falls into that, right? It's like the umbrella. But those lower vibrational feelings and emotions keep us so freaking stuck and clumped up so small. But as you grow and you learn and you expand yourself and your energy body and like learn to forgive and use all these lessons for your power, you are able to live and be in a higher vibrational state of living to where you are able, once you're up here and you stay grounded in here, you are able to look at all these situations happening around you and not be affected by it anymore because you have such firm boundaries. Firm boundaries, and you are vibrating higher than these lower vibrational situations around you. So, for example, Sarah, you, after doing probably maybe listening to this podcast or this episode, you probably may feel really like activated to not let it affect you, right? So by you feeling activated, you are vibrating at a higher frequency and you're going to be able to call out that bullshit more easier and not attach to it and say, this is not mine. I don't need to feel this way. I don't need to live in this. I don't need to, because you're that powerful. You can decide that at any time. But the real work comes with growing that awareness and like growing that I don't have to subscribe to this and I don't need to feel guilty for doing what works best for me. Connie says, we are being pulled to sub. I was added to the sub list, and for some reason, I was called 3 days in a row each morning at 7:30. They pulled you literally. Oh, they pulled you internally rather than using district subs. Interesting. So, Connie, are you a teacher and they're having you sub like on your prep? Interesting. Linda says, it's so sad that teachers, including myself, are leaving their school industry because of toxic coworkers, including unsupportive administration. Yeah, so I'm going to go a little deeper on that because, I mean, I don't think teaching is my forever job either. And it is because of the system that keeps me feeling that way. Like, I feel like held in when I want to grow and expand. But I believe the more teachers that like leave and voice their opinions or choose to stay in the school system and transmute these more dense things that are happening in the school system, it all plays a role in actually like evolving the school system like for the future. The school system, I mean, is going to be going through major changes. And if not anytime soon, it's going to be happening. Like there's no way. It's like crumpling at the seams as we're speaking. So I believe it's all for greater reason, right? Like for the sake of our freaking kids. Connie says that yes, she's a teacher and they tell you have to sub on your prep. This is the weird thing. Sometimes I'm like, that's weird. And then it's like, oh, get the union involved. But then like the union is not very helpful either in situations I've used them. I've used my union multiple times, especially during my first year, and they helped me with nothing. So I know that's tricky. It's tricky. And the thing is, like, as teachers, this is the thing. I feel like teachers are so afraid to stand in their light and they're so afraid to like stand in their truth and like self-worth that they allow like this bull crap to happen around them. And sometimes we can't help it. Sometimes we're forced because of our contract or something like crazy like that. But that's why I'm like not a fan. It's really restricting. Um, Aw, yay, Sarah. Sarah says, thank you for providing this platform to raise our voice. Yes. I mean, for those of you who've been here, like this is 5 years I've been on YouTube. There's just me as a creator and like me as a person. I've been growing and expanding too, and really trying to figure out who am I here to serve? Who am I here to help? Who am I here to uplift? And who am I here to serve? And right now, I believe it's teachers who are feeling lost or who are how can I say this? I think a lot of teachers are like empaths. I think a lot of teachers are like, as I call light workers, like the best way I can explain it is like being an empath. And I'm going to have a whole live on this because it's so important. But being an empath just means like you are so intuitive and you are really easily able to tap in and to feel other people's feelings and other people's emotions. But the thing is, you attach them onto you. And that's like being a disempowered empathetic person or disempowered empath. You're just a highly sensitive being. And I feel the call to help more people build these boundaries. I'm hella empath. Like, I always thought there was something wrong with me growing up because of the way I'm able to like feel other people. Like with my husband, I can literally just look at him and it's my own like sixth sense. Like we're all very intuitive people. We just have to be open to it. That's what humans are. Humans are intuitive, but we shut it off for like reasons XYZ. But I'm able to look at my husband and tell right away something's off. But the thing was, before me going into my power, was I attached it onto me and I thought there was something wrong with me. So then I would try to change me. And then it's like this ridiculous cycle. But now being grounded in who I am and what I serve and like really being kind of like separated from the ties of, I'm just going to call it the matrix. Like I'm able to oversee a lot of the, like, how can I say this? So they're like distractions. I can oversee the distractions and stay in my power and stay in my light and like help people. And that's the thing, like teachers, like I'm telling you, teachers are here to help and serve. But the thing is, we have such big hearts that we're not putting boundaries on that we get taken advantage of. And it's obvious. And it's like, I can't do it anymore and serve people to my highest capacity. Mushroom Queen 99. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found me. I really do feel like me evolving into this type of like teacher, right? And this is another thing. Teachers aren't just in the classroom. So teachers are all over the place. Um after I'm so happy I just found your channel 3 days ago after being hired as a sub. Yay. I would say like going back to subbing, and I might do subbing again. I'm filling it out. But the thing with subbing, it was nice because you just got to be there and you got to go home and you didn't have to worry about all this extra stuff. Like it's so hard teaching because you are like doing your job, but then you are tacked on with all this extra stuff around you. And it's really hard to navigate, especially if you have a family or a life. Very powerful words of wisdom that I'm definitely taking notes on. Oh, yay. Just keep following. If Mushroom Queen, if you like what you're hearing right now, then you'll love my podcast. Because my podcast is really for like self-empowerment for teachers. The YouTube is more visual for like lessons and stuff, but I like to do lives too. Linda said, completely agree. It can be very exhausting. Yes. And that's why like teaching is just such a different animal. Connie says admin's answer to the union was to add me. I am new to the district, so I feel muted. Yeah, but at the same time, Connie, like you still have the power to say yes, to say no. And if they forced you, you have the power to leave. That's the thing. Like we all have the power to leave. And again, like not all districts care enough to make people happy or like feel comfortable. Like my first district was all about power. It was like power, power, power. You weren't allowed to have a Facebook, you weren't allowed to have an Instagram. They watched you, they stalked you, like they kept such a close eye on who you were outside of school that like if I ever cussed, I mean, obviously, I didn't even cuss back then on my YouTube channel. Or I didn't even have a podcast back then. But if I did, there's no way I could be allowed to do that. So it actually came up to me during my first year of teaching with this toxic work environment of, do I really want to conform to fit this little tiny district with these weird rules? Like I can't have a YouTube channel. Like that's weird to me. That's just overboard like control. Like why do you need to control me so much? Why do you need to control me so much? And then this is like just an observation I made, is like these teachers that do stay in that particular district, they are very easily controlled. Some districts like that. Some districts like teachers that just say, put their head down and say, okay. I'm just going to keep working myself to death. Like I'm just going to keep going. And then that's what they like. But we have a choice to be like that, or we have a choice to walk away from it. But the thing is, sometimes walking away is not the easiest. But that's the thing. If we always go for the easiest route, if we always go for the less than challenging route, then we're never going to grow and we're just going to stay in the same habit loop. It's honestly like me and teaching, me and my relationship with teaching. I've tried it for 5 years. I kept going, kept trying. It's like, all right, when am I personally going to wake up to my own advice and say, okay, it's not working, time to move on? And I am following that advice, by the way. Finally. All right, I'll stay on for about 3 or so more minutes. But basically, my whole premise with this podcast episode is like, you are so powerful. You are infinite potential. You have all the power to make your own reality magical and beautiful. And the thing is, and what I've learned through my whole journey of like finding my ideal school and even going through the job interview process, and like when I was going through the job interview process 2 years ago, I was doing interviews, and I have this all on my YouTube channel. And I was getting advice from other like teachers saying, stop talking about yourself so much. Like the district doesn't care about you personally. And I'm like, the hell? Then I don't want to work for them. Like I am just not about changing myself to fit into other people's molds. That's just not me. No, thank you. I literally feel like I'm dying if I do that. How do you deal with a tough colleague who has a child in your class? Oh gosh. And unrealistic expectations of you as their child's teacher? Damn. It's a good question, Carrie. So this is when you have to separate yourself from this colleague. Okay. Every single teacher is extremely different. Like I am not comparable to my coworkers, and my coworkers are not comparable to me. We are all uniquely so divinely different. We are not meant to be the same. So, Connie, I would offer the advice of really tapping into what makes you unique and special. And like as a teacher, a great teacher, right? Tapping into that and going with your gut on how you think best fits this child. Because the thing is, a lot of times, like what I've seen is a lot of like parents and a lot of even like teacher parents. I've never had a child, teacher's child in my class before from my same school. It's never happened to me. But um, the thing is, like with children, they grow so much more from people outside of their family as well. So, like, how can you best serve this child? Even if mom is like wanting something different, it's like, sorry, this is how I run my classroom and this is the reasons why. As long as you are coming at it with integrity and a good heart, like an open heart of compassion, and saying, like, hey, coworker, and trust me, like, this can be done. I'm not saying it's like easy, but it can be done. You have choice. And saying to the coworker, hey, I see your child like da da da, and I hear that you want me to da da da. However, this is what works best in my classroom. But this is what I'm trying with your child. Like, I would say do not change and force yourself to change for this coworker. Absolutely not. Listen to what they have to say, digest it, discern it, but you don't have to listen to her. She's not your boss. And she might have a good idea of what she wants for her kid. Great. But at the end of the day, this is something too. At the end of the day, you as a teacher are not only serving her child, but you're serving probably 25 plus 30 kids. You have to make the moves for what is best for the whole collective group of kids in your class, not just her child, right? And that's a lot of struggle I see as a teacher, or I saw. And I'm going to have this huge disclaimer. This year of teaching has been the best year of teaching I've ever had. The best group of kids, the best group of parents, the best coworkers, the best admin I've ever had. By far. It's the best one. So, coming from working 5 years in various different school districts with various different grade levels and like all of that, don't change. You are an expert. You know what you're doing. As long as you are moving with integrity and moving with love, you can go no wrong. And I've always held that belief, even when I got in trouble for like my YouTube channel, whatever. It wasn't to be mean, it was to like help spread love. And you can't go wrong with that. And the thing is, if someone is like choosing to see, so let's pretend Carrie, I think I said Connie, maybe, I don't know. Sorry, Carrie. But Carrie, if, and everyone else who's dealing with this, if you listen, everyone has their free will, right? When you present to this coworker, hey, this is like why I'm doing it, and this is why, and like this is helping your kid, blah, blah, blah. The other person has the choice to see it in more of a positive thing, or they can see it more as a negative thing, or anywhere in between. But that's their choice. That's not your choice. Your choice is to live it with integrity and to move through life with integrity, knowing that you are serving all your kids for a divine reason. So it's up to other people to like make that choice for themselves, but it's not up to you to change. Because if you change for other people, you're not spreading your full capacity of love and light at all. And then who are you really serving? It's like, why? OMG, I'm so thirsty. I left my normal water downstairs. But I had so much fun on this live. I love helping you guys with the situations that you're facing and battling with. So basically at the end of the day, this was a great 50-minute podcast, but basically at the end of the day, you need to know that you are extremely educated. You are extremely knowing. You have like your intuition speaks to you of what kind of educator you are and how you serve and what your role is. Like anytime something tells you different, than to trust yourself, no, don't subscribe to it. You have the power to subscribe and to unsubscribe to anything that is no longer serving you. And that includes coworkers. And like just going off a little bit more, Carrie, about your coworker who has unrealistic expectations on you, where can you kind of forgive her for doing that, right? A whole thing about this and being like self empowered is seeing the humanity in others. Like you're human, she's human. Where can you help her? Where can she help you? Work together, but don't dim your light at all. If at any time someone tells you to dim your light, say no thank you, I unsubscribe, moving on. And that's with anything and anyone. All right. Thank you so much for being on this live. I do want to drop the link one more time for the 28-day gratitude challenge. The people who are doing this live, the people who are doing the gratitude challenge live, we're on day 5. But if you do want to practice more gratitude in your life, 28-day challenge, everything is in, if you're looking at this on the live, it's in an app called Telegram. And that is where it looks like this. Let me show you. It's like a private messaging portal thing. It's right here. So each day for the next 28 days, I'm going to drop a little challenge for you to practice more gratitude. So yesterday was the magical day of health. So I gave like a riff about practicing more gratitude towards your health, what it does, and a little challenge to help you embody it. And then this is another thing, if you are dealing with like some toxicity, where can you transmute it? Where can you witness it, see it, transmute it? And I'm telling you right now, the number one way to transmute anything is with gratitude. Gratitude is your superpower. It's one of the highest emotions we can feel as teachers and people, to transmute. That's why we're here. We are here to transmute the dense into light. Quite simply put, that is why we're teachers, right? To help others. But we cannot help others if we are not feeling high vibe. It's impossible. It's impossible. All right. Thank you so much. Let me know if you guys have any more questions. Message me on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube and my podcast. This will be on my podcast as well. So if you love this type of like sit down talking, advice, riffing, really, you're going to love my podcast at High Vibe Teaching, available on all streaming services. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a best weekend. And please, please, please take time to fulfill your cup, to fulfill your soul. Thank you. Have a great day, you guys. Heart, heart, heart. Take care. Woo! LOL. Lots of love. Lots of love to you. All right. Bye.